Does God think you're a coward? 3,000 years ago, a little shepherd boy stood up against a giant, literally. His whole nation was afraid of this giant, and no one would stand up against him. Are you like this shepherd boy, or are you like the fearful nation? In your education, your job, do you have the courage to stand up for what's right, or does God see you as a coward? More likely than not, you are a coward in some area. But that's okay. Let me explain. In 1 Samuel 17, the nation of Israel was at war with the Philistines. All of Israel was afraid of the giant Goliath, who fought for the Philistines. The little shepherd boy David stood up against Goliath and actually beat him. And he did so because he came in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel. And you've probably got some questions, and I do too, like, why does David say he comes in the name of the Lord of hosts? And am I more like brave David or the fearful Israelites? First, what does the Lord of hosts have to do with it? The Lord of hosts was a name for God in the Old Testament. It has a similar meaning to the God of armies. David believed God was so strong that God would actually work through David to defeat Goliath. He was so confident in this, he bet his life on it. That's a lot of courage. But there's a problem. Are we more like David or more like fearful Israel? Well, we're much more like fearful Israel. They did not have the confidence in God to make change. Their change was defeating Goliath, but there are giants in our own lives that we don't have the courage to take on. We struggle with self-righteousness, bondage, and slavery to fear. But if we are fearful Israel, is there anyone who's able to be David? Yes, that's where the good news comes in. God created the world with people who were not self-righteous or stuck in bondage and fear. However, they took on the chains of bondage when they chose their own way instead of God's way. Now, the whole earth is stuck in slavery. However, God did not make us to be slaves, but to be free. Jesus, God's Son, is like David in the story. He died to break the bondage of self-righteousness and fear. True courage is handing our own bondage over to Him, that He would break it. It's not easy to admit defeat and ask for help, but Jesus promises that whoever goes to Him will be delivered from the bondage of self-righteousness and fear. Asking God for freedom from bondage and asking Jesus that He would change you is essential for the freedom we need. For more information, read John chapter 3, verses 1 through 21, or check the description.